What if I told you the biggest lesson of your life could be learned in 10 minutes? But most people waste 30 years avoiding it. I did. I chased money, success, validation, only to realize everything I needed was hiding in plain sight. And today I'm going to save you decades of mistakes by showing you what finally clicked for me. One, the lie we all believe. Let me tell you something that might sting a little at first, but will set you free once you really get it. From the moment we're old enough to understand words, we're fed this picture of what success looks like. They show us the mansion, the sports car, the private jets, the adoring crowds. We're programmed to believe that if we just get enough money, enough status, enough stuff, then we'll finally be happy. But here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. I've sat across from people who have all of that and still feel empty inside. I've had billionaires confess to me in quiet moments that they envy the peace of mind their gardener has. I've watched famous people crumble under the weight of always needing more approval, more fame, more whatever comes next. The real secret, success isn't something you buy or achieve. It's something you feel, right now, today, with exactly what you have. That doesn't mean you stop growing or wanting more. It means you stop putting your happiness on hold until some future moment that may never come. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones with the most in their bank accounts. They're the ones who've cracked the code of being at peace no matter what their bank account says. This is where most people get stuck. They keep chasing the external rewards, thinking if I just get that promotion or if I just hit that number, then they'll finally relax. But it never comes, because the goalposts keep moving. The promotion comes and suddenly you need the next one. The number gets hit and now you need double. It's a treadmill that never stops unless you decide to step off. Here's what I want you to try today. Ask yourself one simple question. What would I do today if I already had everything I think I want? Would you still go to the same job, spend time with the same people, pursue the same goal? The answer to that question tells you everything. Either you're already on your path, or you're chasing someone else's idea of success. The people who truly win at life aren't the ones with the most toys. They're the ones who built a life they don't need to escape from. The 30-year wake-up call. I want to take you back to a moment that changed everything for me. It was 3 a.m. in a hotel room somewhere between my third failed business and what I thought was my last shot. I was lying there staring at the ceiling, realizing I'd spent 3 decades chasing all the wrong things. 3 decades thinking if I just worked harder, just sacrificed more, just pushed a little longer, then I'd make it. But here's what finally hit me that night. The people who really thrive in this world, the ones who seem to handle chaos with ease and bounce back from anything, they weren't special. They weren't born with some magic gift. They just understood one thing I'd missed my whole life. You have to master your mind before you can master your circumstances. Your thoughts create your reality, not the other way around. I used to believe that once I had success, then I'd be happy. But the truth, you have to find happiness first, then success follows. Not as some motivational poster nonsense, but as actual practical law of how life works. Your outer world will always reflect your inner world, always. I started noticing this everywhere once my eyes were open to it. 2 people face the same setback. One crumbles, the other comes back stronger. Same situation, completely different outcomes. Why? Because of what was happening inside their heads, not what was happening to them. The most powerful skill you'll ever develop isn't some business strategy or investment technique. It's the ability to control how you respond to whatever life throws at you. Here's the exercise that changed everything for me. Every morning, before checking my phone, before reacting to the world, I'd ask myself, how do I want to feel today? Not what did I want to achieve, but how did I want to feel? Capable? At peace? Excited? Then I'd work backward from that feeling. Because here's what I finally understood. We don't chase success for the success itself. We chase it for how we think it will make us feel. But you don't have to wait. You can cultivate those feelings right now, today, and watch how your outer world starts to shift in response. It's not easy. It takes practice. But after 30 years of doing it the hard way, I can tell you this. Nothing, no amount of money or achievement, will ever give you the peace and power that comes from mastering your own mind first. Your thoughts are the seeds. Your life is just the harvest. Plant wisely. The invisible force holding you back. There's something inside you right now that's working against your dreams. And the scary part, it thinks it's helping you. Your brain has this built-in security system designed to keep you safe. But safe means small, safe means stuck. Safe means watching life pass you by while you stay exactly where you are. This isn't about being lazy. This isn't about not having enough time or resources. This is much deeper. Every time you get an idea that excites you, every time you consider taking a risk, every time you think about changing your life, that security system kicks in. It floods you with doubts. It reminds you of every past failure. It convinces you that playing it safe is smarter than going for what you really want. But here's what you need to understand. Fear isn't your enemy. Fear is actually your most accurate GPS. The things that scare you the most are precisely the directions you need to move in. That nervous feeling in your gut when you think about starting that business, that's not a warning sign. That's your future self trying to get your attention. The hesitation you feel about asking for that raise or publishing that creative work, that's not weakness. That's the edge of your comfort zone. And just beyond it is where everything changes. I want you to try something different today. Instead of running from that fear or trying to talk yourself out of it, lean into it. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could really happen? And then ask, could I handle that? You'll almost always find that the worst case scenario isn't nearly as bad as your mind makes it out to be. And the potential upside, that's where your best life is hiding. The people who create extraordinary lives aren't fearless. They feel the same doubts you do. The difference is they've learned to recognize that discomfort for what it really is. Not a stop sign, but a trail marker showing them where to go next. Your fear isn't holding you back. It's pointing you toward exactly what you need to do. The question is, will you listen? 4. How to rewire your mind in 10 minutes. Let's cut through all the theory and get straight to what works. Right now, think of one thing you've been putting off. Maybe it's starting that project. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Maybe it's just getting back to the gym. Whatever it is, I want you to notice how your mind immediately makes it seem huge and complicated. Here's the truth. Your brain is tricking you. It's taking something simple and blowing it up into this impossible mountain because that's how it keeps you safe and comfortable. But we're going to outsmart it. Instead of thinking about the whole project, the entire conversation, the full workout, what's the absolute smallest first step you could take? I'm talking microscopic, sending one email, writing one paragraph, doing 2 push-ups. The key is to make it so small that your brain can't possibly come up with excuses. This isn't about getting everything done. It's about breaking the paralysis of perfectionism and overthinking. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. And motivation creates more action. It's a cycle that starts with one stupidly simple step. The magic happens when you realize that all those tiny steps add up faster than you think. That book gets written 1 page at a time. That business gets built 1 customer at a time. That fitness gets achieved 1 workout at a time. The people who accomplish big things aren't superheroes. They've just mastered the art of starting small and staying consistent. So here's your challenge. In the next 10 minutes, take that first small step. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Because readiness doesn't come before action. It comes after. You don't think your way into a new life. You act your way into new thinking. And it all starts with one tiny, almost laughably easy step. Will you take it? Why most people never arrive. We've all been brainwashed into believing in this magical finish line where happiness finally begins. Once I make my first million, once I lose 20 pounds, once I get that promotion. But here's the brutal truth I discovered after watching thousands of people chase success. That finish line doesn't exist. It's a mirage that keeps moving further away the closer you get. I used to think achievement would fix everything. That once I hit certain milestones, some switch would flip and I'd suddenly feel complete. But when I finally reached those goals, I realized something terrifying. I was the same person, just with nicer stuff. The anxiety didn't disappear. The self-doubt didn't magically vanish. The problems just got more expensive. This is the great trap of modern life. We postpone our happiness while chasing success, not realizing that success without happiness is the ultimate failure. The happiest people I know aren't those who achieve the most, but those who learn to enjoy the process itself, who found meaning in the daily grind rather than waiting for some future payoff that never delivers what it promised. Here's the secret no one tells you. Happiness isn't something you find at the end of the journey. It's the fuel that makes the journey possible. When you stop waiting for external validation to feel good about yourself, something miraculous happens. Opportunities find you. Creativity flows easier. Relationships deepen. Not because your circumstances changed, but because you stopped putting your life on hold until some imaginary future arrived. Try this today. Do one thing purely because it brings you joy, not because it's productive. Notice how it affects your energy, your focus, your entire outlook. That's not wasted time, that's the foundation of real success. The people who truly win at life aren't those who sacrifice everything for achievement. They're the ones who built happiness into their daily routine, making the success that follows feel effortless, rather than exhausting. The two-word trick that changes everything. There's a simple phrase that can short-circuit nearly every fear holding you back. It's not some complex mantra or expensive therapy technique. Just two words. So what? Next time you're paralyzed by fear of failure, ask yourself, so what if I fail? Really sit with that question. What actually happens? You'll realize most failures aren't fatal. They're just temporary setbacks that teach you what doesn't work. The people who accomplish extraordinary things aren't those who never fail. They're the ones who stopped catastrophizing failure and started seeing it as feedback. So what if they laugh? Let them. Laughter fades. Regret doesn't. 20 years from now, you won't remember the people who doubted you. You'll only remember whether you had the courage to try anyway. The opinions that seem so important today will be forgotten tomorrow, while the opportunities you didn't take will haunt you far longer. So what if it takes longer than I planned? Time will pass regardless. 5 years from now, you'll either have the results you wanted or the same excuses. Progress isn't about speed, it's about direction. The only true failure is giving up because things didn't happen on your artificial timeline. This simple phrase works because it exposes our fears as paper tigers. When you shine the light of so what on your darkest anxieties, they lose their power. You realize that nearly every outcome is survivable, and that the pain of regret far outweighs the temporary discomfort of trying. The most liberated people in the world aren't those who never face adversity. They're the ones who've learned to meet every challenge with those two words. So what? Becomes their armor against doubt, their weapon against procrastination, their compass through uncertainty. Two words that contain an entire philosophy of resilience. Try it right now with whatever's holding you back. Say it out loud. So what? Feel how it shifts your perspective. That's not recklessness. That's the beginning of real freedom. The freedom to try, to fail, to learn, and to try again without the weight of imaginary consequences crushing your spirit before you even begin. How to turn obstacles into oxygen. There's a fundamental law of success that most people never grasp. Obstacles don't block your path. They become your path. Every limitation you face contains the exact energy you need to break through to the next level, if you know how to harness it properly. Think about fire for a moment. What happens when you smother it? It dies. But what happens when you give it just the right amount of resistance with oxygen? It burns hotter and brighter than ever. Your dreams work the same way. Too much ease and comfort will kill them faster than any challenge ever could. The most successful people I've studied all share this one trait. They don't just overcome obstacles, they consume them for fuel. No money, that's not a roadblock, it's a masterclass in resourcefulness that will serve you forever. No connections, that's an opportunity to develop real skills instead of relying on favors. Rejection, that's free market research telling you where to improve. Right now, you're probably facing some challenge that feels like it's holding you back. What if I told you that exact obstacle is your greatest teacher? That the frustration you're feeling is actually potential energy waiting to be converted into forward motion. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle isn't the presence of obstacles, it's the ability to stop seeing them as stop signs and start seeing them as stepping stones. Here's how to make this shift today. Take your biggest current challenge and ask yourself 3 questions. What is this forcing me to learn that I wouldn't have learned otherwise? How is this making me stronger in ways comfort never could? Where is the hidden opportunity I haven't seen yet? The answers will reveal that what you thought was working against you has actually been working for you all along. The most valuable lessons in life don't come from easy wins. They come from creative solutions to difficult problems. Every obstacle you face is secretly custom designed to develop exactly the skills, mindset, and resilience you'll need for the next level of your journey. 8. The Midnight Test. Let me ask you something that will reveal more about your current path than any motivational speech ever could. If no one was watching, if no money was involved, if there was zero chance of recognition or reward, would you still be doing what you're doing right now? Be brutally honest with yourself. Most people are building lives they'd abandon in a heartbeat if external validation disappeared. They're chasing promotions they don't really want to impress people they don't really like. They're sacrificing their health for money they can't enjoy because they're too stressed and exhausted. They're following someone else's definition of success while quietly wondering why it all feels so empty. The Midnight Test cuts through all the noise. At 3 a.m., when the lights are off and the masks come down, does your work still feel meaningful? Does it excite you when no one's there to applaud? Would you do it for free if money wasn't an issue? If not, you might be climbing the wrong mountain. This isn't about quitting your job tomorrow or making reckless decisions. It's about starting to ask better questions today. Where can you bring more of your authentic self into what you're already doing? What small changes could align your daily actions with what truly matters to you? How can you start building something today that would pass the midnight test with flying colors? The most fulfilled people aren't those who avoided compromise. They're the ones who kept adjusting their course until their work became an expression of who they truly are. They understand that success without soul is the ultimate failure, no matter how impressive it looks from the outside. Your time and energy are the most valuable currencies you have. Before you invest another day in something that wouldn't pass the midnight test, ask yourself, is this really how I want to spend my precious life? The answer might surprise you and change everything. What rich people know but won't tell you. Let me tell you a secret about wealth that changes everything once you truly understand it. Real riches have nothing to do with dollar signs and everything to do with freedom. I've met people with modest bank accounts who feel like kings because they control their time, their attention, and their peace of mind. And I've known millionaires who are prisoners to their possessions, their image, and their never-ending hunger for more. The true measure of wealth isn't what you have, it's what you can walk away from without looking back. That toxic job, those draining relationships, the endless pursuit of stuff you don't need to impress people you don't like. The truly rich have cultivated the ultimate luxury, the ability to say no to anything that steals their joy. And here's the radical truth. That kind of wealth is available to you right now, today, regardless of your current bank balance. This shift starts in your mind. It begins when you stop equating net worth with self-worth. When you realize no amount of external validation can fill an internal void. The people who've cracked this code understand that money is just a tool. It makes you more of what you already are. If you're anxious now, more money will just give you bigger things to worry about. If you're at peace now, more money will amplify that peace. Try this exercise today. Make a list of everything in your life you wouldn't walk away from even if you had unlimited money. Your morning coffee ritual, that hobby that lights you up, time with certain people, that list reveals your true wealth. Now make another list. What would you immediately walk away from if money wasn't a factor? That's where your poverty lives, regardless of your income. The 10-minute rule that saved me, the most powerful habit I've ever developed, takes just 10 minutes each morning, but has done more for my success than any strategy or technique. Here's how it works. Before checking my phone, before reacting to the world, I write down how I want to feel that day. Not what I want to achieve, but how I want to experience my life. Confident instead of get the promotion. At peace instead of resolve the conflict. Joyful instead of finish the project. This subtle shift changes everything. When you focus on achievements, you become dependent on external validation. When you focus on feelings, you tap into an internal power source that no circumstance can take from you. Over time, something miraculous happens. Those feelings begin attracting the very achievements you stopped obsessing over. Not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of person who naturally creates them. The secret most people miss is that success isn't something you go get. It's something you grow into. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Those 10 minutes each morning aren't just planning your day, they're programming your identity. When feeling capable becomes more important than getting promoted, you start carrying yourself differently in meetings. When feeling connected matters more than getting more followers, your relationships deepen naturally. Try it tomorrow. Set a timer for 10 minutes and answer this question. How do I want to feel today? Then list 3 tiny actions that could generate those feelings. Do this for a week and watch how your entire relationship with success begins to transform. You'll stop chasing and start becoming, and that's when real magic happens.